Are you stuck? Dreading getting out of bed? Maybe even feeling like you can't trust your intuition anymore, and you got that amazing job and business. It was this dream thing, and you got there and you were like, wait a minute, I got here, and all of a sudden it's not feeling like it fits anymore. And I'm not even sure what my purpose is. Perhaps even feeling a little guilty, like you got where you thought you were going to go and achieve this thing, and still not sure what that even means anymore. And maybe not trusting your intuition anymore. Hi, I'm Jennifer Zenz-Olson, owner and founder of Laughing Lotus Wellness and Purpose Expert. And I work with people just like you who are struggling with achieving what they wanted, got there only to arrive and kind of go, I'm not sure why I'm here. I'm not sure what my purpose is, and maybe I feel really disconnected from my intuition. Maybe I thought I had it all together and now I'm off kilter. And I'm going to help you reconnect that fire that you have to your purpose and success. And so today, to really kind of expand into our month of May, we're going to be talking about intuition for a minute. And I'm going to give you 3 tips on staying in touch with that intuition and using it to guide you. Particularly if you are feeling a little bit off kilter and you're not exactly sure where you're kind of feeling like you need to be heading right now. So last week, we talked about your perceived containers. So I hope you figured out what your perceived containers are. I hope you figured out your one area you wanted to keep working into and expand into. And so the first thing I want to do is just really quickly revisit that idea of expand and how I am defining that for the month of May, which is just engaging in zany passion and novel direction. And so what that means is we want to use our energy to engage in moving into new space and territory, not being afraid to do that and using our intuition. And I know from years of practice with people that we spend a lot of time in our heads not listening to our intuition. We ignored a lot. And so over 20 plus years of clinical work with people and coaching, I have seen a lot of people second guess themselves, and they're really not listening. They've got this internal voice that's actually talking to them all the time. And what I think happens for us is we sometimes struggle to know what's our egoic mind and what's right and what's actually intuition, which is a fair thing to kind of try to, make sense of on your journey. But for today, we're going to focus on those tips for stepping into your intuition again. And so the first thing I want to tell you is listen for the internal voice, okay? Your internal voice's intuition will not tell you something bad about yourself. That's one way to know. So if you're ever looking at, is this my ego talking, right? Is that internal voice that's like the shitty bitty committee that my friend says? I love that. My friend Bridget calls it the itty bitty shitty committee. So, and another client called it her committee, which is hilarious. And so it's like this idea of we have this little voice in our heads. It's talking to us all the time, running commentary. Our intuition will guide us, and it's never going to say something mean to us. Ever. There's no mean space inside your soul. Actually, when you're in your best self, that doesn't exist. So you want to check that. Is there something mean and spirited in it? Because if that's there, that's definitely not your intuition. Okay. Worry and anxiety can be an intuitive thing from time to time, but typically it's much more that egoic mind wanting to talk us into that state of fear. And what happens is we go back in time where we attach to old stories and go, oh, but this will not work out. And I tried this and that didn't work out. So it's still that egoic mind that's attaching itself to you. And so I really want you to check, where does this voice feel like it's coming from? Is it coming from a place of goodness and light and encourage me to move into my best self? And when there's this energy to it that feels like a voice that's like, yes, lean in, go for it. Those are the kinds of voices we're listening for. It's that sense of being pulled. So I even said, too, feeling the magnetic pull, and that you're going to kind of feel like you're going to lean into something. And so that's another intuitive way to sense where we are in the process, right, of being connected to this expansion and that intuition. Am I being called into it? Okay. And so if I feel like I'm being pulled into it, in many directions, it's always a great sign of your intuition. It's a great sign that you need to be listening with those ears, okay? That intuitive ear. So that's a different way to listen than just with our ears, okay? And listen for messages. So this is one of my favorite ways. This is probably my very favorite. because the mind one can be tough. It can get kind of muddled with anxiety and fear-based thoughts. And so it's powerful, but I also want to say it can be a challenge. But looking for the messages. So it's things like, it might be a message in a song. It might be a message from a person. It might be a message in something writing, that you're reading something and all of a sudden something comes right out at you and you're like, oh my gosh, that's exactly the thing I've been thinking about. It's exactly the area I've been trying to work into or understand or make sense of for myself. And so it can be a friend's like text to you. It could be in what you find yourself talking about all the time. So there's all these neat little messages that we can receive if our eyes are looking for them. And those are like my favorites. So it could be that, in moments where I've been like, am I in the right place? And am I doing the right thing? And then all of a sudden someone will reach out to me spontaneously and be like, I just wanted to thank you for that class. Or this totally changed the trajectory of the way I was seeing something. And then I'm like, there we go. And so I don't want to need someone's validation in my journey, but it's always beautiful to get that content back at me where it's like, okay, there's something that's being generated here. Transformation is happening. And so when I get those messages, I'm like, okay, stay the course, right? So that's just one example. That's not my only one, but that's definitely one of mine that I will, sometimes if I'm feeling really stuck, I can tell I'll get messages that way. But I look for cardinals, which I always feel like is my mother showing up, confirming something for me. That's a big one. I was trying to think if I have another intuitive one. I do a lot of energy intuitive kind of pieces, so it's a little bit more challenging for me. But I will say, like, I'll hear a song. I'll hear a song that will strike me in just the right way. There is a sense of otherworldliness about it. And I don't know how to explain it beyond that, except for to say that when it's happening, it's almost surreal kind of. And so you might have this like, oh, what is happening right now? Like there's something magical happening for me. And I really want to open my eyes and expansively step into this space because I'm being given information. And the cool thing, my friends, about intuition is it's from you. If there was ever a blessing that you were given, your intuition is this internal compass you have riding around with you every single moment of every single day. And so working within it is such a powerhouse decision. And it was one of my favorite things to work with my clients and over the years was like really helping them step into that intuitive space and listening to their guidance. People did not show up in my office broken and needing me. They showed up not remembering that they were wired with their answers. And so my job was to help guide them back to that. And a lot of times that's the same for intuition. It's just helping guide you back to that internal space that you have and you're wired with by nature. And so the coolest thing is you've got your own source of energy. And so I want you to learn to use that tool on the journey. So for right now and this week, what I would love to have you do is go check out my website at laughinglotuswellness.com. Again, that's laughinglotuswellness.com, and poke around and look on my content page for all sorts of tips and tricks and meditations that you can use, again, to enhance this journey. It's a great spot to go and check out information, and let me know if you've got questions or anything, because I would love to hear what you've defined for yourself in terms of what are your perceived containers. Where do you want to expand your world and your vision? How are you going to tap into your intuition? So if you get a chance to comment to me, I would love to hear about this piece of your journey and hope that you're enjoying the content for me and stepping fully into that space as we expand beyond our containers and expand into our greatness. And so I'm super excited to hear what you learn and what you take away from this month. And so I look forward to seeing you next time where we continue to dig into this idea of expanding. See you next time.